It is Wisdom Wednesday, and Rosa here. Um, Hopefully, your favorite real estate broker. All right, my friends, we are live because you know what? It is time to drop some wisdom, right? It's time to drop some wisdom on Wednesday. Yes, it's a fun little thing to say, Wisdom Wednesday. But this is what I basically do every day, right? This is my job, is to help you get honest, caring, real estate, credit repair, inspirational advice, consultative advice to help you increase your lifestyle. It really is as simple as that. So, as we're kind of going through this, I want you to know that I am here. I'm available for you every step of the way. And as you join me, like Elroy, thank you so much for joining. E, thank you so much for joining us. I want you to know that this is available, of course, for you to share. Maybe you have questions about real estate. Maybe there are some things that you want to talk about, that you want to go through. And guess what I have? I have what they call answers, my friend. Who doesn't like answers? I mean, I've been doing this for 23 years. Hey, PMC, Mr. Toad, or Todd, TOD. I appreciate you. Janet, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. And so I want to hear your questions as well. What is it that is on your mind? What are you thinking about that you need help with, right? It can be related to buying a property. It can be related to buying your first home. It can be related to selling a home. It can be related to renting. It can be related to maybe getting an investment property together. It can be related to credit repair and what to do. Hey, Angel Heart, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you as well. So, we want you to ask those questions. Put it in the chat. I'm going to do my best to help you out every step of the way and answer those particular questions, right? I want to know, what is it that you have for questions? What is it that you're thinking about? So that I can help you get to the next level. Come on, who doesn't want to get to the next level in their life? Who does not want to increase their lifestyle? Hey, Julia, thank you so much for joining us, Donna. And of course, I appreciate all your likes and your shares and so forth. So let's specifically talk a little bit about real estate, right? Because these are some of the questions that people have. I want to get into the fun stuff. To me, the fun stuff is talking about some inspirational. Robert Kakin, thank you so much for joining us. Estelo, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, all of you, I do appreciate your likes and your shares. I want to get to some fun stuff, like the inspirational things that I have on my mind, right? But let's take care of the basics. So first of all, for those of you who are maybe not 100% sure, right? What are the 4 parts of a monthly real estate mortgage payment? Do you know those 4 parts? What are you focused on? What are so many people focused on in today's world? Hey, trailer user 541, Dry D, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you. Appreciate us sharing out here with people. So what are those 4 parts? PITI, principal. Oh man, that's what you actually owe the bank, right? Principal, interest, right? Interest, that's the second part. Interest, principal, interest, taxes. Nobody loves taxes. Come on, that stuff will drive you crazy. Hey, One Sacks, thank you so much. Stepich, Carl, appreciate you joining us. Principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. All right. So those are the 4 parts of a typical mortgage, monthly mortgage payment, right? And those are the things that people are concerned about. People are worried about. The number one thing that people are worried about, in my opinion, these days is the wonderful world of interest rates. Nobody knows where they're going. 1 minute they're up, 1 minute they're down. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure what to do. I'm going to wait it out. Well, in my advice, I ask people, hey, you want to wait it out? I understand. Hey, Maddie, thank you so much for joining us. If that's your opinion, to wait it out, but how are you living right now? How are you feeling? What do you think about waiting it out deep down? What does your partner, your spouse, what does your family think about it? Because if you are not taking care of your number one lifestyle concerns and issues, well, is it a good idea to wait it out? So, what would be some concerns and issues? Mad Mike, Lucky Me, Robin, thank you so much. What would be some of those concerns and issues that you need to think about and maybe take seriously because you want to increase your lifestyle? You don't want to wait necessarily because maybe, and let me take a quick little sip there, right? Number one, you're not feeling. Hey, Rob, thank you so much for joining us. Alan, Mad Mike, appreciate all your likes and shares, my friends. Maybe number one, you're not feeling safe. So if you're not feeling safe in your current living situation, I got to tell you right from the start, it's time for you to move. I don't pass judgment on people. I don't give demands. I'm usually very easygoing. But don't sit around if you're not feeling safe. You need to be safe. Your children need to be safe. And you, as an adult, 18 years and older, everybody 18 years and older, everybody wants to do what they want to do. You can't tell anybody, well, I'm 18 years old, I'm 20, I'm 24, I'm 34, I'm 44, I'm 54, I'm 72, right? I want to do whatever I want to do. You can't tell me what to do. Well, I'm going to tell you this one thing. If you're not feeling safe, or if your children are not safe and secure, you need to move. I don't care what you need to do. Find a way. Get some money. Go to work triple shifts. Whatever you need to do to feel safe, because you see, that is really one of those main things that need to be taken care of, safe and secure. Now let's talk about the other things, a little bit more soft, right? Because, I'm not trying to be some hardcore dude. I could be. Hey, Jack, Chris, Douglas, Jen, thank you so much for joining us. I could be one of these hardcore dudes if I really want to be, but that's not my number one goal. My number one goal is to get you inspired and to help you increase your lifestyle. Okay. We were talking about mortgage payments, and we're talking about people worried about mortgage payments and principal and interest and taxes and insurance and what to do. Well, let's talk about your other lifestyle. Maybe someone has passed away. Maybe you don't need as big of a space anymore, right? Maybe you're paying all those huge amounts of taxes and it's not the right thing for you. It's hard to maintain the home. And there are different mortgage programs, that we have available that I can help you get involved with if that's something that you need to do, right? That's something that we can help you with. Right? There's different mortgage programs available. Like you say, well, you know what? I need to move, but I'm not sure about moving. And how do I move and all that kind of good stuff. That's what we're here to help you with. Right? So downsizing. Maybe, my friends, which this could be a joyous occasion. Hopefully it is. There's a new member of your family. There's a brand new baby in your future, and you need to upsize. Your space is too crowded. Everywhere you walk, there's something there. The closets are packed to the max, right? The garage is packed to the max where you're living. Maybe you don't even have enough storage space, right? Maybe you don't have a nice place to sleep at night because you just have so much stuff, so much stuff all over the place that you are not sure where you can even find a place to relax in. So if that's the case, right, then what you need to do is maybe do some upsizing, right? Maybe you need to be able to take that to the next step for you so that you are able to get something bigger and better. Now, my friends, here's what I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about. And this is the whole world of upsizing. This is the whole world of materialism. This is the whole world of commercialism. And, you might look at me, hey, Bill Way, hey, Gedrin, user 531. You might look at me and be like, well, you know what, Rob? I know you're in the business of sell houses, and that's what you're going to talk about. Well, I can tell you, yeah, I help people with properties. I help people with investments. Right? But what's most important? What is most important to you? What's most important to a human being to be able to live a life of fulfillment? Is it having the biggest, best house? I met somebody the other day. Hey, Nancy, Henry, Fanny, thank you so much for joining us. I met somebody the other day and they were like, well, Rob, I got the biggest house in the town. Did you know that I bought the biggest house in this town? And guess what, my friends? I'm going to tell you very straightforwardly. I'm not impressed. If I really wanted to, I could find a way to get the biggest house in the town. Who cares? Right? I'm not impressed when somebody walks around with the Michael Kors belt buckle. I'm not impressed when I see a Mercedes or drive by me. I'm not impressed necessarily, and it's nothing against particularly those brands. But you see, it is a mind frame, right? That I think that we should maybe take a look at. And so here, I wanted to give you a little bit of inspiration and talk a little bit about Steve Jobs or Jobs. I guess you would say Steve Jobs because I never really figured out exactly the right way to say it, right? Died a billionaire. Apple, right? Died a billionaire. Steve Jobs died a billionaire, 56 years old. I'm 54 years old, right? And he died a billionaire of pancreatic cancer, right? And here were some of his last words on his bed, right? Here's what he wanted to share with the world. And I can tell you, maybe I wasn't always the biggest fan of Steve Jobs. I am not really necessarily, all into that tech stuff every single moment, right? But here were some of his last words. I reached the pinnacle of success in the business world. In others' eyes, my life is an epitome of success. However, aside from work, I have little joy. In the end, wealth is only a fact of life that I am accustomed to. Steve Jobs said this, a billionaire on his deathbed. At this moment, lying on the sick bed and recalling my whole life, I realized that all the recognition and wealth that I took so much pride in have paled and become meaningless in the face of impending death. Well, what does that mean? All these things that he took so much pride in have paled and become meaningless. So here's what he went on to say. You can employ someone to drive the car for you, make money for you, but you cannot have someone to bear the sickness for you. As we grow older and hence wiser, we slowly realize, right? And so, this is something, hey, maybe I didn't really realize this or think about it necessarily when I was younger. Maybe it took some wisdom. Maybe it took some insight that I've prayed to the Lord for, to be even able for him to share, meaning the Lord to share these last words of Steve Jobs with me that I never read before. As we grow older and hence wiser, we slowly realize that wearing a $300 or a $30 watch, they both tell the same time. Whether wearing a $300 or $30 watch, they both tell the same time. Whether we carry a $300 or $30 handbag or wallet, the amount of money inside is the same. Now that one I read this yesterday morning and I kind of chuckled to myself because I thought that one was funny a little bit. Whether we carry a $300 or $30 wallet or pocketbook, the amount of money inside is still the same. Whether we drive a $150,000 car or a $30,000 car, the road and distance is the same and we get to the same destination. I mean, I'll tell you straight up, right now I'm driving my parents' 2001 Toyota Camry with all kinds of, well, it actually has less miles than my car. I have a beautiful Infiniti SUV, but the thing's in the shop, right? It's in the shop, needs work. I don't know what we're going to do with that thing yet, but the point is I need a play, I need something to drive. And I didn't want to inconvenience, my wife and so forth with all the other things we got going on in the family. So I have my parents' third car or second car. Yeah, that's their no third car, right? They never drive it, right? And so the point is I'm driving around in 2001, 22 years old, Toyota Camry, and it's still getting me to the same place. I still put the gasoline in it, make sure it has oil, make sure it has fluids, and it's still getting me to the same place. And it works just as fine, right? So whether we drive that $150,000 car or $30,000 car, the road and distance, what we have to go through is the same. Whether we drink a bottle of $30 or $300 or $10 wine, the hangover is the same. Whether we drink a bottle of $300 or $10 wine, the hangover is still the same. How about this one? Whether the house we live in is 300 or 3,000 square feet, loneliness is the same, right? So these are words right from a billionaire, Steve Jobs, when he was 56 years old on his deathbed, that he said, whether the house we live in is 300 or 3,000 square feet, loneliness is still the same, right? I mean, have you ever walked through your home and been like, wow, no one's around. Maybe it's that moment. And you might have liked it for that one moment. You might have been like, oh, it's nice to just relax by myself type of thing and sit down. But then after a while, you're like, well, where is everybody? What's going on? And it didn't matter how big the house was. You're still by yourself, if that's your particular case. So Steve Jobs went on to say, hey, you will realize, hey, Dwayne, Joe, thank you so much for joining us, Maverick. And of course, we appreciate any likes. We appreciate any shares. So Steve Jobs went on to say, you will realize your true inner happiness does not come from the material things of this world, the bigger, the more beautiful something. It's nice to have those things, but that's not going to give you true inner happiness. Whether you fly first class or economy class, if the plane goes down, you go down with it. And is another funny thing talking about planes and landing and so forth is one guy explained to me, when you sit in the back of the plane, you have to actually land first. What do you mean? I'm on first class. I'm right in the front. We land first. No, because the plane comes down like this, right? So with the back end down. So when you're in the back of the plane, you actually land first. Right? I thought that was pretty funny. It's kind of like a little joke, but it is truth, right? You do land first. All right, my friends, a little bit more inspiration, and then we're going to kind of get back to the wonderful world about real estate answers, right? But what I want you to do is please put in the comments your questions. If you have questions about real estate, dropping some Wisdom Wednesday, you have questions about credit repair, about mortgages, put them in the comments and I will try my best to answer these. So let's go on to Steve Jobs' last words, a billionaire at 56 years old, and he passed away, pancreatic cancer. So therefore, he wrote, I hope you realize when you have mates, buddies, old friends, brothers, sisters, people who you chat with, laugh with, talk with, sing songs with, that is true happiness, right? Don't educate your children to be rich. Educate them to be happy. So when they grow up, they will know the value of things, not the price. Heather Passe, the day has come. Thank you so much for joining us, right? Don't educate your children to be rich. Educate them to be happy. What are we showing our kids, right? What are we showing them that's important to us? Is it important to us to be on Facebook and to be bragging about every little thing? Or is it important for us to show them different ways, different things that they can do to be happy, to go for their passions, right? How about this one? Eat your food as your medicines. Otherwise, you have to eat medicines as your food. I mean, look at what's going on in the pharmaceutical industry. It's pretty darn crazy. It's one pill after the next, after the next. Oh, you got this, take this pill. You got that problem, take that pill. Before you know, you're taking 2, 3, 4, 5 pills a day, and everything's, counteracting with each other. You don't even know what's going on anymore. Right. So those are the things you're going to want to look at in your life just to make sure that everything's going all right. The one who loves you will never leave you for another, because even if there are 100 reasons to give up, they will find one reason to hold on. Right from Steve Jobs. I'm not making this stuff up. Right. If you want to walk fast, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, walk together. So that is really, basically what Steve Jobs wrote about, right? On his, technically, I wasn't there, but this is what we've been told. This is what I'm reading, on his deathbed. That's what he wrote about, right? So do you want to take the advice? Do you want to hear it out loud? Or no, Rob, I want to do it my way because I'm smarter, I know better, and it's really all about me having the 70-inch TV and the Coach wallet and the best shoes in the world and the most expensive car so that I can look cool, and then I can be by myself. Right. Or I can have some partner that she has, the this, all of the different things that people want to see in a woman, right? But then on the inside, the woman is rotten. Right? What's important, the inside or the outside? Just like when I walk up to a home, right? There's many, many cases that from the curb, the home looks beautiful. The roof looks pretty darn good. Louise, Larry, James, right? Thank you so much for joining us. Likes and shares are appreciated. The roof looks good. The chimney looks pretty good. The siding looks nice. Man, they put on some nice new vinyl siding, or they put this beautiful wood shake shingle on there. The patio looks awesome. This was a house a town over from me. This was a little while ago. This is actually last year. Hey, Anthony, thank you so much for joining us. Everything looks so awesome on the inside. And then as soon as we open up the front door, something didn't smell right. Something didn't smell right. It smelled moldy. It smelled rotten. And then we started walking around the house. What's that smell? This is a true story. What's that smell? Because we were so pumped up. The outside was so beautiful. We found that one house that no other buyer is going to find, right? We are the ones that we're lucky enough to do that. And I hate that word lucky, right? We are the ones that we were going to do that. And so now someone opens up the basement door. And when they open up the basement door, all that smell came out. It was absolutely terrible. And we slowly made our way down there. And what we saw, it was disgusting. There was actually almost like a little brook. There was running water, not really, really running, but there was water going throughout the basement, right? And it was a finished basement, and all that sheetrock and the ceiling tiles. I had to go like this right away, and I left it. I only looked at it for about 7 seconds because I couldn't take it. And it was all mold, and there was green mold, black mold, this mold. It looked like there was grass growing on the walls. It was like you were like this. He was rotten on the inside. So those are the things. What kind of life are you living on the inside? What's important to you? Because to me, being safe, secure for your family and for your family, right, for your children, that's number one. Then we can talk about increasing your lifestyle. You got the money to do it. God bless you. That's awesome. Let's get you a bigger house, or let's get you, if you don't have the money to do it, maybe you want to get yourself an investment property. Hey, John, Jimmy, Greg, thank you so much for joining us, right? Maybe you want to get yourself an investment property, and we can help you through that. There was a time I had up to 54 units of investment properties. I had 13 buildings, and I can help you do that if that's something you want to do, right? You have to be that person dropping Wisdom Wednesday, right? You have to be that person that maybe other languages. That will help you big time depending on your location. Maybe Spanish, maybe other languages that will definitely help you in that particular area, Okay. You have to be that person to have compassion, right, for people. But at the same time, you have to be strict and go by the rules. Because when it comes to tenants, you put 3, 5, 7 tenants in front of you. Guess what? They all want to be treated special, just like the rest of us. When they have a problem, well, I have this and this and this and this, but they all want to be treated the same. Oh, how come you did this for them, but you might not do it for me? So, can you be that person to be able to treat somebody, right, special, but still go by the rules and be strict with the rules and stand by your ground? Because if you let it go where this person says, "Hey, I'll give you the rent next week. I'll give you the rent next week. Come on by on Friday at 5 o'clock." You come by on Friday, 5 o'clock, they're not there. Well, I actually waited until 5, and maybe you showed up at 5:07. I waited until 5, but I didn't see you, so I left. Well, can I come back now? Can I come back tomorrow to get the rent? Well, come back on Thursday. Now another week goes by. Another week goes by. Does the bank let you do that? Does the bank say it's okay? Don't worry about paying the mortgage. I know you have some issues with your tenants. Yeah, I know you're not a stickler. I know you don't stick to your guns. Don't worry about it. Does the town say, "Hey, it's no big deal, man. We can wait on collecting these taxes"? Does the insurance company? No. So you have to be, if you want to get investment properties, you have to be that person who's kind of willing to stand their ground to be able to let people know that you're serious about running a real estate investment business. So we kind of started off this whole topics about talking about principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, right? Then we kind of went on about talking about some upsizing, what that means. Can you do it? Does it make sense for you at this particular time? We talked about downsizing. Maybe that's going to be a great opportunity for you, right? Maybe downsizing means you get to save money and you get to do some traveling with that extra money that's in your pocket. What are you waiting for? Well, I'm waiting for the interest rates. Well, keep on waiting, my friend. Are you Nostradamus that you think you may be able to time the market, to time the interest rates exactly at the lowest point possible? Because if you are, let me know. I want to be your friend, right? I want to be the one to be able to know exactly when the interest rates are going to go down. Do what you need to do to improve your lifestyle, because the years, the days, the months, the years, what happens? They go by quick. You see these right here? You see these grays, these whites? These came in a second. What do you think? I don't remember when I was 4 years old and 10 years old and 15 and 20 and 25 and 30 and 35 and 4, and the story goes on. You don't think I remember that? It happened in a second. So what are you waiting for? What's the holdup? What are you waiting for? Go and make it happen. You can do it. If you have the right coaches and mentors, maybe I would be one of them, right? If you have the right guides, someone who can help you, if you're praying about it, you're asking for answers. Hey, should I move now? Should I wait before I move? What should I do? You will get the answers if you seek for those answers and you take action. If you're sitting around all day, maybe you're sitting at work at your desk and you're like, I can't do nothing. I'm just stuck. Or maybe you're sitting, in bed. Maybe you're sitting on your couch and you're just like, oh, you're sitting at your dining room table, just drinking a cup of coffee. And you're like, oh, I just can't do anything. I'm just stuck. No, you're not stuck. Get yourself out of that. Don't focus on it. Right? Ask your real estate agent. Ask your real estate professional like me. Right? If you're interested in a home, ask, what can I do? What do I need to do to get into this home or a home like it? Right? What are the other homes in the same area selling for? Right? What might be my monthly payment? Right? What are what's the condition of that home? What are some of the things I need to look out for? Like I told you, and this happens quite often, we as real estate professionals, we are marketing experts, especially myself. I'll tell you straightforward, I'm a marketing expert. So usually, I'm not telling you I'm always perfect. Okay. But usually, when you see one of my homes for sale, oh, the pictures are beautiful. Everything about the house is so beautiful. The rooms look great. They look like a good size. The flooring looks great. This looks great because that's what we are supposed to do. I am hired by the seller to put that home in its best light. I'm not going to be fraudulent, right? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to tell you it's beautiful tile floor if it's linoleum or some kind of other type of material. I'm not going to tell you that the central air is awesome and keeps you, so cool if I know the central air doesn't work. But my job is when I put that home out there online is to put it in its best light, right? And so that's when people, maybe some people, they don't have the wisdom, the insight to say, you know what, I need to take it to the next step and next level where, I want to go look at the home. I want to see the inside. I want to see the inside, right? Is it not, is it good inside? Is it nice inside? Is it going to help me and my family? Just like we talked about earlier with personal life and you meeting another person, what's their insides all about? What is it that they're looking to do and how they is this house going to hurt you, right? Is this house going to hurt you financial wise, right? So we need to know that stuff, and so you need to reach out for a real estate professional, someone who's going to be able to help you with that, every step of the way. And so what are some of the things, dropping wisdom Wednesday, right? What are some of the things, whether it's an investment property or a property going to that you're going to live in, that you should consider, right? What are some of the things that you should consider? Well, first of all, let's just say it's going to be a house that you're going to move into. Maybe you're living in that cramped house right now that we spoke about earlier, right? Maybe you realize, hey, hey, Phil, Flat Earth user 523, Clayton, you've realized it's time for me to move. I need to increase my lifestyle. I need to make things better for myself. Well, when we go look at houses, how much room is there going to be for you, right? Is there enough room in this newer house in the future? And how far into the future? Because sometimes, believe it or not, it gets a little weird where I have people, they start looking almost at the same kind of house that they're living in right now. And I ask them, is it really going to increase your lifestyle by moving into this other house? Because you originally told me, and this is one of the things I work on with my clients, Mark, G-Man, Worship Gal. I work on crafting a vision with my clients. So like the first time we would sit down for an initial consultation, I'm going to ask you some hard questions that, it's not, a multiplication question. What's 10 times 5 times 32 divided by 180, right? But it's questions like, how do you feel comfortable living in this particular home? What are you looking for in a particular property? Because we don't want to go buy you the same exact home. And that's what some people end up doing. They end up getting a home that's 100 or 200 square feet when they originally said, and maybe it's the same number of bedrooms, but the house is just as small, right? Is the home's floor plan right for you and your family? Because some people right now, these days, they're working from home, right? And they need a separate room necessarily. Maybe they like to have that separate working space. Me, I'm that person. I like to be right out in the middle of everything. You see, that's where I am right now. I'm right out in the middle of this household. Okay, people coming in and out, people walking by. Hey, Ruby, how's it going? I don't care, right? I want to be right in the mix of everything. But some people, they want to be, and that's okay with you. You want to be in the corner in the back room, with no windows or whatever it might be. That's okay if that's what you're into. Okay. So is the home's floor plan right here? Like I had another woman, she told me a couple of weeks back now it's been, that she does not like galley kitchens. She doesn't want to feel like she's in a tunnel when she's in her kitchen. She wants to have an open space. That's the new thing that people are going towards. Open space design that people love. Okay. We kind of touched on this question a little bit. And please, if you have questions, put them in the comments, put them in the chat, because I want to be able to answer your questions. What questions do you have about real estate? What are you thinking about that you want to accomplish? Linda, Larry, Shannon, thank you so much for joining us, right? Put it in there. Is there going to be enough storage space? So we kind of touched upon that a little bit. What about the appliances? Okay. What kind of appliances do you feel like you need to have? Like, do you feel like you need to have and want to have? And there's no passing judgment on this, but I need a refrigerator that has the ice maker. That's it. I'm not going to go buy ice all the time. I don't want to deal with it. I want a refrigerator that has the ice maker. That might be important to you. I need a gas stove. I hate electric stoves, or I hate electric stoves. I need to get, or vice versa, right? I want an electric stove. I hate gas. So that's totally up to you. How about the yard size? What's the size of the yard that you can envision right now? So if you were to take one moment, right, and you think about the home that you have, well, how big do you want the yard to be? Bubba, Trey, Linda, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate any likes that you have. Anybody who has some likes, put them out there if you're enjoying this conversation, right? Maybe you can share it with someone so that they can get the help. They can get the wisdom on Wednesday that they need and want. So if you sat for a moment and you kind of close your eyes a little bit and you're like, I can see myself in a kind of a smaller yard because I don't want to sit around all weekend mowing the lawn and raking. Or maybe you like a huge yard. Maybe you want a yard with a pool. Maybe you love a deck. Maybe you love a patio. So go out and get on the search for those things. Make it happen for yourself. Reach out to someone like me. Get the guidance, get the mentoring so that you can start looking at that. How much maintenance are you able to do yourself? Right? How much decorating are you able to do yourself? What is it that you're going to plan to do now versus later? Right? These are questions. These are questions I talk to my buyers about as we're walking through a home. Is that something you would deal with right now, or would you wait on that? How do you foresee you dealing with something like that? Right? Even, which this one is pretty darn interesting, and it kind of works in a weird way. The present furniture situation. Do you know? And again, there's demographics, there's different, we know that we have buyers, we have sellers, we have renters, we have landlords, and so forth and so on. But do you know how many of these renters that I run into that they got the biggest, best furniture and they have no place to put it? Right? That whole bedroom is just filled with that huge California king size bed. Now they're struggling to get money together for a down payment to buy a house for their children, but they got to have the California king size bed. Right? I mean, where is that money going? What makes you feel like it's more important to spend money on a piece of furniture that's going to fall apart soon rather than get a safe, secure, nice home, build some pride with your children, start building some wealth, start building a legacy? So these are some of the things that you want to seriously consider, because I even have a lot of people that they are renters and they have been smart enough to take the first step to stop renting. And now every time we go look at one of these houses, which, they're on a tight budget, the bedrooms are too small. The bedrooms are too small. The bedrooms are too small. And I mean, I've shown like 3, 5, 12, 15 houses to the same person. The bedroom is too small. Well, maybe it's time to start thinking about getting some different furniture for your bedroom. Maybe you need to borrow furniture. Maybe you need to go to IKEA or one of these do-it-yourself places. I don't know. But what is the priority? What's the priority? Right? Is the priority to worry about that bedroom furniture at the expense of having to keep renting? Right? I know it's a matter of preference, right? And again, not passing judgment, but just being straightforward with you. Why sugarcoat it? Right? Hey, Roberto, Artorius, Peter, Joe 4454. Thank you so much for joining us. Ruby, thank you so much. Appreciate everyone's likes. Appreciate everyone's shares. Right. So those are going to be some of the things that you might want to look at. Now, what do you need to bring along when we're looking at houses? Right? What should you bring? I mean, I try to bring things so that I can help out my clients, right? And Jeanette too. Thank you so much for the love there, right? I know Jaja Fernandez Rosa, she put out there a love heart too. So thank you. Right. Okay. So what should you bring along when you're looking at homes? Should you just get out of the car and not paying any attention to anything and just be like, oh, I got 3 minutes really quick. Let's look inside. Because is that how you're gonna make a decision to spend two, three, four, $500,000? Well, first of all, maybe you want to bring along, I know we have our phone and be prepared if you know how to use notebook on your phone, or word pad or whatever it is so that you can write down notes. Okay. If you don't have that type of phone or you're not sure how to use it or you don't like to use it, then bring a notebook and a pen. Simple as that. Be ready. Maybe you want to bring a flashlight. I mean, we have our flashlight on our phone and that usually works pretty darn good. But if yours isn't working or you don't know how to use it, be ready. How about a tape measure? Right? For checking the room sizes, for making sure, I have a couple of clients and they are pretty darn tall, right? And maybe you want to make sure that your husband, wife, children, uncle, aunt, mother, and father, that when they're living in that home or coming over to the home, that they're not going to be banging their head on everything. Maybe you want to make sure that there's enough clearance, right? There's enough clearance to make sure that, you're going to be able to snoop around a little bit and you're going to be able to take some sizes of rooms, make sure the closet is big enough. Right. And so, sometimes we have to go back a second time. And I could tell you straightforwardly, that's okay. But in today's market, you might not have that chance. You might be like, hey, Benny, thank you so much for joining us. Mike, appreciate everyone's likes and shares. You might be thinking, well, if I really like it, I'm going to come back with my husband, wife, sister, brother, uncle, aunt, cousin, this person, that person, my kids. I think that one's a little funny. Like, I'm not going to make a decision, on what a 14-year-old, not to say that, there's some smart 14-year-olds, but I'm not making a decision on what the 14-year-old has to say about the house. Okay. But I got to come back with my 14-year-old to make sure that little Johnny likes it. Because if little Johnny doesn't like it, I don't know if I'm going to buy it. Right. Well, you might have just lost the house because houses are not lasting that long. Here we are in September and going into October 2023. Now, was it different in September, October 2018? Yes. Is it going to be different maybe next year or the year after? Probably. You might have a chance, right? You might have a chance to be able to go back a second time, but don't count on it right now. I'll be happy to schedule the appointment for you, but it might be just too late because the houses are not going to stay on the market that long, my friends. Okay. So that's something that you're going to want to be considerate of. Otherwise, you're just going to miss opportunities. All right. So what should happen after the showing? What's important about that? Hey, Greg, Toby, Conky, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Right. Again, everyone, we appreciate your likes and your shares and so forth. Cynthia Rosa, thank you. That name sounds familiar. That's my mother. Right. So it's nice because I got my wife. I got basically family, Ruby. I got my wife, my mother, my family. Everyone's on here today. This is an awesome day, dropping some wisdom on this Wednesday. Okay. So, what should you talk about with your agent? Does your agent want to talk? If your agent doesn't want to have discussions about the house and really give you some advice and some consultation after you look at the house, maybe that's not the person for you. Okay. But don't be shy about discussing straightforward what you do like about the home or the property, if it's investment property, and what you don't like about it, right? Be straightforward. You're not going to hurt people's feelings. And if you do, because it is personal, but it's also business. And you need to voice your opinion on it. Sometimes you need to talk things through. So don't be shy about talking about a home's shortcomings. Is the home going to be too small for your needs? Let the agent know. Let your agent know. Was the home perfect except for something in particular? Like, I had someone yesterday, they said, oh, the home was perfect. Actually, their agent called me. The home was perfect except for, in the basement, this and this needs to be fixed. And I said, you know what? Let me talk with the seller, because they were about ready to back out of the transaction. And I said, well, let me talk with the seller because maybe we can help you out. Maybe we can improve upon that. We can, repair that particular, not that it was broken, but we can update it for your buyer. B. Cindy Kretsch, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, we appreciate any likes and shares people may have. And so I went back to the buyer. Went to the seller, spoke with the seller. So I was like, yeah, I could do that. That's not a big deal. Went back to the buyer and we kept the transaction going for the buyer. The buyer's happy. Remember that, we want to get you, at least, well, I do. I don't know about every single other agent in the world. I want to get you what you want. Right. I want to be able to get you into that home or into that investment property that you're going to feel excited about, that you're not going to have buyer's remorse. Most of the time people do have buyer's remorse. It is a real thing. All of us do it, whether we buy a pair of jeans and then like 2 hours later, we shouldn't have bought the jeans. We put a deposit down on a car. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, but we want to try to get over that stuff so that it's not anything huge. Right? Is there a certain number of homes that I should look at before I buy? Oh, I'm not going to buy this house. It's the first house I looked at. Was that a true statement? Is that really the first house you looked at? Like, how many houses are you looking at online? Hey, Barry. Hi, Troy. Hi, user 5500. Appreciate you. Right? So we know that when you start thinking about buying another house, you're looking at homes online all the time, and you're looking at the pictures, and maybe you're looking at the description, and maybe you're looking at the maps and seeing where it is. How cool is Google Earth, where you can look at the street view, right? The street view. Maybe you're looking at the school profiles in the area. Maybe you're looking at the community profiles, how many crimes are there, what's the rating of the schools, and so forth. So I got to tell you straightforward, I'll go show you homes, but you should kind of know, a pretty good probability, maybe 70%. And I'm just kind of making this up as I go here. Jeff, Richard, Daryl, thank you so much. But think about it. 70%, you should know, hey, if this house is everything it says it is, this is probably going to be the house for me. So it's not like you necessarily have to put a number on it. There is no set number of homes you should look at before you decide to make an offer on one. And if you do that, if you have a number because your brother, sister, uncle, right, father told you, oh, you need to look at least 6 homes before you make an offer. Because I've heard people say stuff like that. Well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to miss out. If the home fits your needs, if you're excited about it, don't be thinking about, is the grass greener on the other side? We've learned that since we were kids. Is the grass always greener on the other side? Right? So that's why making sure that you have a good agent, someone who's looking out for you, you're going to look at the home, you're going through it, and then you talk about it afterwards, right? It's going to give you a positive feeling about the home search process, right? And it's going to help you narrow down your choices easier, right? And if you want to go look in other communities, right, it's going to basically cut back on a lot of wasted time. Because, in today's world, what's happening more often than not is we're getting stuck in traffic, right? Everybody's waiting until after work to go look at homes. And before you know it, between 4:30 and 6:30 in the evening, you're trying to go look at homes, and all you're doing is, if it's different communities that you're trying to go to, all you're doing is that you're going to get stuck in that traffic. And ultimately, you make it into a negative experience. And you start telling people, I hate house hunting and I shouldn't have done this. And maybe I shouldn't have done that. And a lot of times, well, I wouldn't say a lot of times with me, thank God, but there are many cases where people just stop. They're like, I can't do it anymore. It's too hard. Like, when we go look at homes, we're not out there digging ditches, right? It's not like, oh man, it's 20 degrees outside or it's 100 degrees outside, and here's a shovel and I got to dig this big hole. That's not how looking at homes should be, right? It's as easy as kind of driving around a little bit, getting out of your car and walking around a little bit and taking notes, having some discussions, having some fun with it. Make it an enjoyable experience. Hey, John, Nick, Mark Mo, 2017. Please, any questions that come up, let me know. Right? We're going to just go for a couple of more minutes to drop some Wednesday wisdom. I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 house hunting tips. And then, my friends, we are going to call it a day. I'm going to get back to my business. You're going to get back to your business, but you're going to know that I am available for you. I am available for questions that you have, for inspiration that you might need. So, when you find a home that you may be interested in buying, what questions do you want to ask? And these are things you might want to write down. How much money do you pay for monthly utilities? Right? You might want to know that. Like, a lot of renters forget, oh, wait a minute. Now I'm going to have to start paying for cold water. And that's another $100 a month, give or take, for an average family. Oh, I didn't realize I was going to have to pay for cold water. Yeah, you forgot that your landlord was paying all that money for your cold water every month, right? Another question: have you had any problems with water or dampness in the basement? Oh my gosh, this has been a tough one. I don't know about where you're living in what particular area, but here in Connecticut, especially, we've had days and days. We've had 3 days here, then a couple of days sunny, and then a few days more of rain, rain, rain. Right. And so what's happening is there's been flash floods. There's been people who have found water in their basement that maybe they never did their whole life. Right. So you want to know that. You want to be prepared. I mean, I've had more than one situation which I really, really feel bad for the owners when they find out that there was water or dampness in the basement. And sometimes it ruins their personal items. Right. Are there any defects or problem areas that need to be fixed right away? Maybe there's a part of the siding that needs to be fixed right away. Maybe there's a piece of wood on the deck that needs to be fixed right away. That could be a safety issue. So you're going to want to know what items, because you might be willing to buy it as is, just so that you can buy the property and not have to deal with issues. I mean, not miss out on the property, but you don't want to have to deal with some major problems, major issues. All right. How old are the furnace and central air conditioning systems? And then lastly, how old is the roof? Because, depending on the type of shingle will depend upon how old the roof should last. All right, my friends. So that's everything I have to share with you today. We talked about Steve Jobs, right? And we talked about his last words. In fact, I want to go back to one particular item, one particular statement, and here's where we'll leave it for the day, unless you have any questions, because if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to share it with you. But here we go. As we grow, this is right from Steve Jobs on his deathbed, right? And here's one of the things he said, supposedly, right? This is what I'm reading. As we grow older and hence wiser, we slowly realize that whether the house we live in is 300 or 3,000 square feet, loneliness is the same. You will realize your true inner happiness does not come from the material things of this world, right? I hope you realize, it says here, True happiness comes with those who you chat with, laugh with, talk with, sing songs with, and talk about whether things are north, south, east, west, or heaven and earth. That's true happiness. So that's all I got for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Don't forget me, right? Rob Rosa. Hopefully your favorite real estate broker. We'll talk to you soon. God bless you.